Friday. It's my first Friday that we have got to be on. I've been busy every Friday for what seems like an eternity, but today I'm finally back. The streams might be starting a little bit later from here forward now that school's starting, right? I got to get my kids to school. That's the number one priority. Jumping right into it, we can see that we're going to be opening up on a gap here. You could see here's yesterday's high. We've got the 100 SMA here, 50 SMA here, and the market trading up here at the 40.37 as we're speaking. So pretty decent sized gap, about 25 points, which is, I would say, a pretty decent sized gap. We have these levels still marked here because this is the high of balance. And will be key to watch if the market comes down and buyers step up and start to buy this area and there's a failure to close the gap. I think that the target up will be that 40.64 with a failure to close the gap. On the flip side, if the gap does close, we could just balance right here towards the edge of value as it is, or the edge of balance as it is Friday, and you might not see any real conviction. I think the key here will be if the market gets accepted inside yesterday's value down here below, basically that 4,000 level, they'll target this VPOC, and below that VPOC would kind of change the tone back to looking out for the downside. Taking a quick peek here at the daily, something I wanted to share real quick. With the current trend that's going on, we can see kind of a lot of lines on the chart, so I wanted to erase some confusion. We can see we're kind of in this kind of steep up move right off this low, but the real key here is this downtrend from basically that turnover where that longer term seller came in, and we can see we're pretty much hitting it. So up there would be that 40.64, which is the previous week's high, and that's kind of the real key that I'm really looking after today. Peter, good morning. Uncle Stacy, good morning. Pop, good morning. Double R, good morning. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking for, or what I'm thinking that the key might be today leading into the day. So let's go ahead and take a little peek around the block real quick. See, the dollar has come down a pretty decent amount in the overnight session. We have the Australian dollar catching some steam to the upside. The euro is actually back above the $1 mark, which is, everyone in, like, I mean, I was going to make a bad joke, but I just won't. Bitcoin got the boost of a lifetime, right? Really jumped up above that 21,000. And if we go to our actual Bitcoin chart, this is kind of something that we talked about previously. It zoomed out so much, where we had kind of had this balance, right? The market had stayed in a balance for a decent amount of time. It looked below and was kind of right here when we talked about it yesterday, and we had said if it gets back up into balance, there's good odds that it visits that 19,800 level. Well, it did, and there was no sellers in sight, and the market just continued to squeeze, and now it's back up above 21,000. So pretty decent move and response, just breaking through a previous balance. And so to me, what this is telling us is that most of these shorts are weak-handed shorts, and if we don't see selling today, then we could see a continuation of a squeeze. And I think that's kind of all over the market here today as well. The same thing with the ES too, I think. Let's take a peek at Apple. Apple's back above that 155 level, had this weird kind of wick during the pre-market this morning. Looked below yesterday, so it's going to be opening up on a gap. It looks like it already tried to close its gap. Still watching that 157 level on Apple. Amazon here, I'm really watching to see if that it's going to close that gap below. It's going to be opening up on a gap as well. Disney's going to be opening up on a gap, a little bit less important. Google's looks like it's opening inside yesterday's range, so not as strong. Meta's going to be opening up on a gap. We'll be watching that level. These marks will probably be going off here as the market opens here today. Netflix has broken above. If we switch to the daily chart on Netflix, you can see it's in a pretty steep downtrend here, but it's broken above. So Microsoft getting a bit of a bull here. Netflix pushing right up against that resistance. Switch to the daily here. You can see it's basically just been consolidating, but it looks like it's just going to be pushing right up against that level. So monitoring for continuation is going to be extremely key this morning going into the session. Nvidia also opening up higher. I don't know if I skipped AMD, but AMD is going to be opening up higher as well. And last but not least, Tesla is looking pretty strong. Had that pullback to that 290 level and is above that resistance, that downtrend resistance, and looks to be gapping higher. And that next test would probably be that 300 level on Tesla. The VIX also has come down quite a bit after kind of scaring everybody up here when it was up around that 27, 28 level. Back down below that 23. Not saying that that's a low number for the VIX. Volatility is still definitely increased, but it is something to at least take note of. Are you ready to get it this morning? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh, yeah, at the end of the day yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, AMD. From the close yesterday, its close was at 82 and it's up at 84. So yeah, only almost $2. That's a pretty good move. Yeah, to the never-ending list of things. JB, good morning. Good morning. So there is opportunity to to possibly run into some resistance here in the market to fade back down early on in the session. So there will be an opportunity to fade. We just want to exercise caution on this fade here. Just because it may pick up some steam, right? So if you're looking to try to like get long off the rebound of it, you might want to just let the market settle itself out a little bit early on. You can see it's already starting to catch a little bit more downside right here early. Liker, good morning. Morning, Dad. Starting to see a pullback here like early on in a lot of these tech sectors here. The key today to get continuation to the upside on this gap will be the internals. We need to see the internals remain bullish if we're gonna get, they should all open green naturally because we're gonna be opening up on a gap, but we need to see them start to pick up if we're gonna get some continuation to the upside. And the key that I'll be looking for really is going to be this previous week's high. Get rid of this real quick. This previous week's high here. Let's go ahead and get some Reveille going. All right, we're ready. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Roach. We've got about a minute and a half till the market opens. Today we got the wild berry. Morning, Trin. $155 level's just been a magnet here. Andy, good morning. Thomas, good morning. $30 seconds. Now's the time. Prepare yourself. All right, market opens up basically right on top of this 50 SMA. Patrick, good morning. A little bit of volume coming in. Remember, where gap rules are in play today. Look at the breath here, opening up pretty strong on the breath. Very tight range early on as the market tries to decide what it wants to do. Nice little move here still. Volume still coming in. Let's watch to see that overnight point of control, see how that acts. Really tight range here early on as everyone kind of tries to decide, what they want to do. A continuation still. This is kind of giving us that feeling. Uh, you know, the gap's not closing. Jason, good morning. Morning, Adam. The breath is still maintaining strong. Market's still in a very tight range here, about 10-point range. AMD just caught a big bid here. Popped up pretty decent there. Apple's trying to come down here a little bit, so watch the market. Long off the open. Good call, good call. I didn't get it off the open. I got off the 31, but we're still riding this thing up. Holding a finger on the flat just in case we get a little quick entrance. I think if we do get a seller to come in, they're going to come in hard and fast, and this thing might fall fast. So you got to be quick on the trigger today. Apple coming back down to that 155 level here. Chip makers are killing it. AMD's just on fucking fire right now. Not a lot of times we see this. The market's going up and Apple's coming down. Come on, 50. Got it. I'm really looking for that Globex high. I mean, really the target here today, if we maintain this bullish posture and the internals maintain the upside, we'll really just be targeting that 4064, which is that previous week's high. That seems like the next logical target, and would be, you know, a break or a cessation of one time framing down on the weekly chart. We've already had the cessation on the daily, and I do think that, you know, and I've heard, I think it's Jim Dalton or maybe Peter Resnick have said this before. Sometimes what doesn't happen is just as important as what does happen. So, you know, with the market opening up on a gap and being, I'm out of that long, just so you guys know, with the market be opening up on a gap and looking so strong, a failure to get that previous week's high would kind of give us a little bit more information as well, right? It would kind of tell us that maybe the buyers that were in the market were not as strong this week, and it was really just weak shorts covering a lot that pushed the market higher. Still a really tight range here. When what should happen doesn't. Thank you, Jason. That's what I was looking for. That's a Peter Reznicek thing, I think. And sometimes that's just as important at was what actually does happen. A lot of volume coming in here right on this Globex point of control. Take a peek here at the sectors. Let me just pull this over real quick. We could see tech way up. Healthcare is trying to stay up. Consumer discretionary is way up. Financials is even doing well. Communications, industrials. Staples is struggling here a little bit. Energy struggling a little bit. Utilities got a smackarooski. Materials and real estate kind of, just not really that important. Mixed bag there. Peter, yeah, Peter Reznicek. Yep. Apple's trying to come back here. Everything's trying to get some gas here. It looks like AMD really just kind of moving up. Amazon trying to move up here. Disney, Google, Meta. Meta's really on the move. Microsoft is having a little bit of a pullback here. Netflix still looking good. Reminds me about my yo buddy. 243%. Nice. Fucking Netflix for the win. At least they're good at something, right? They're not fucking good at making channels cheap. Watch this 440 to break. If the 440 breaks, it looks like they'll probably go to test this high here. 440 is look like where the volume kind of came in. So a break of that 440 will probably look to test this 45 here. That's going to be the key level for these buyers to try to get above, I think. Looks like this thing wants to fake out. It just looks like, I mean, we're just up so high. It's just, what can you do at this point? I only have 2 more of those Netflix calls, and I think I'm about to just call it a day and close them. So failure to get back up to that 40 this time, so we can see the volume taper off the high, and really the volume's coming in right at that overnight point of control. So this will be kind of the same situation down here at the low will be this 30 level. We kind of see the same idea, right? The volume just kind of died out right here at this 30 level. So it'll be that same idea. That's really like kind of the area that we're in right here. Will it fill? Yeah, gap rules are in play. Will it fill or go? Yeah, that's the question. That is the question. Yeah. Yeah, Netflix is breaking right above its trend here. So if we take a peek at Netflix, zoomed in on this is the weekly. Let's switch to the daily real quick. If we zoom in on this daily chart, you can see Netflix has been, in a bracket for the most part here. And I mean, you could even draw it tighter if you wanted to, but it's breaking above these previous highs and it's breaking out of this little downtrend, actually gapping above it. So it may be seeing a bit of short covering here coming in early on for that. Yeah. I mean, it looks to me like offers are trying to move down to slowly smother this price. Look at all the volume that's coming in right here at that 36, and this it kind of gives us that feel like the longer we hold below and I, I mean I'm really just watching this 40 level, to be honest with you. I'm in a long right now from 34, and I'm really watching to see if this 40 level breaks. If this 40 level breaks, I think that the target's going to be that 40-45. I'll cover most there. I'm not going to hold on to this thing forever. This thing could flip easily. Netflix is starting to negotiate with advertisers. Should be a lower tier coming. One of your privates, one of your clients in a private negotiation. Yeah, I was hearing that. I was hearing that. What's it called? That Netflix was um gonna do like a cheaper version of Netflix but with ads. See, there goes the break. Yeah, one turned around on me, and now they're look for that gap fill. They said, "Would you play the break or wait for the retest?" I think we're seeing weakness all around the board here. I mean, even coming down right here, you know, you see just shorts just cover right there. So everyone that got short here from this 36 looks like they just covered. Just watch the retest of this 36 if sellers reoffer that level. If not, I think that above that 40 is, probably a safe play. Cash VWAP's at 35, 24-hour VWAP's at 32. This thing's been kind of just ping-ponging back and forth. So they reoffer that 35 level, 36 level, but they're trying to sell right here this 33 order, it looks like, but they're just not having any success. The buying doesn't look very strong either, though, if I'm being honest. It just kind of looks like every time shorts come in, they cover for like a couple of ticks here, a couple of ticks there. But we don't have the volume yet. I think we're going up. So there's a test of the 40 right there, a little kiss of the 40. Let's see if these buyers are going to step up and continue to take this thing higher here. Come on, are you fucking kidding me? Let's go. Break this 40, you little bitches. A failure to break this 40 level and really get above this Globex high is going to show weakness from buyers here, and that's going to kind of get me to really kind of just get flat and just start to wait till that B period opens up and see if we get any more action there. Yeah, that was a nice move. Yeah, I got stopped out and then got back in. Nice. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing just weakness on both sides here, and so eventually, eventually something's got to give. I'm flat now, um, up about 6.5 points for the day so far. For that, I won a first trade, lost a second trade, won that third trade. Now just sitting here flat, waiting for this thing. I want to see it get above the 40 now. I don't think I trust these responsive longs again until we get above this 40. Because if we, I mean, the way that I'm thinking about it, right, we had kind of like that 40, and then the original level was basically that open where that volume kind of died off, right? Well, you got these longs that liquidated, and then as soon as they started to liquidate, the shorts started to cover. But we did get some actual volume coming in down here, so there was some interest. Some shorts actually did try to push it down. There just wasn't enough of them compared to of how many of the shorts that were covering. So if we figure the they're offering this 37 level. We didn't even, I mean, I don't even know if it got up to 40. It got to 39.75 was that high, that last high move on this push up, and now we're back below this volume. So this to me shows us that the longs are kind of scared or nervous because of this gap, and this might be a time to just hang out. But I mean, the gap is still not filled, so it's hard for me to want to get short and to fade this gap, just because of basically what we've seen the past couple of days, right? We've basically seen these shorts just, their computers are off. There's been no shorting in the market at all, except for yesterday on a news driven event out of the ECB, and that was it. Jason Taylor, please type all of your message, then send it. If there was a conversation, your style makes it harder for us to follow that conversation. I mean, there's not really any rules in the chat with how you type and stuff. I don't care. I'm used to it too. That's my brother text messages. One fucking word at a time. It is in texting. You're like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh my god." I think below the open again, TJ's onto it. I think there's opportunity below that open again. If this thing gets back below that open, we could see it look to go fill that gap. And I think above the 40, we might be okay. This might be a decent spot to try a breakout trade, to be honest. Got to be careful with how quick shorts are covering and everything. Yeah, let's not get in an argument in the chat on how people type their messages. Just type your message however you want. And I don't mind. Really tight range here. Tommy must be in the chat today. Every time Tommy tunes in, I swear the market just fucking doesn't move at all. don't know if you guys saw the big news out of England yesterday. Queen Elizabeth II passed away. I think she's the second, or she's the third. Queen Elizabeth passed away, and then Charles will become the king. Yeah, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm gonna just stay out of the long for sure until we get above that 40 and see how it acts. I'm really looking for it to get a little bit like a little gas and then one of those and just try to snag it on a pullback. But yeah, I mean, I think you're on a pretty good, if you're shorting up here or shorting like the fail of here and putting your stop just above that A or just above, just above this 40. Really, I mean, I would say the A high. But yeah, I mean, and then because we know that these buyers are weak, at least in my opinion, I think. Because right, right. It gives you like an easy way to define risk, which is the goal here. Careful with the short though. Look at Apple. Apple's on the rush here. Yeah, kind of the same way that you're using the range bars, Dad. It gives you like that kind of look, like boom, 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 boom. It's not moving, not moving, not moving, not moving. And look at the volume kind of starting to try to come in here. You're seeing like, got 13, 12, 9, 10, 7, 5, 5, 2, 4. So volume is trying to move down. Yeah, that's yeah, they really have. What's JJ saying? Anything interesting? Anything good? Let us know if he does. Oh, okay. He's a smart dude. Got a lot of experience. So. Yeah, I mean, he might not be the best trader, but he definitely has a good grasp on how an auction works because oh, there it goes. Let's see if it's gonna break this 40 this time. Because I mean, yeah, he used to make markets, so he definitely has a good understanding on it, even if it was Canadian penny stocks. Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah, we'll have to check it out on that. What's his? See, yeah, yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, point and figure is good for rotation. When I used to be like hardcore into scalping, I would use a point and figure footprint chart to scalp quite often. All right, let's go ahead and just fucking break this high already. And you know what? Sierra chart has reversal bars too, Roach. Because I used to use the point and figure because NinjaTrader didn't have reversal bars, but I did like reversal bars when I was scalping a lot. Here we go. Nine contracts on the high, 54. Oh, come on. 59 again, huh? If we don't get back below 42.50, this thing will be good to go. Watch this 42.50. Came right back to it and bounce, so the bid's still there. Even though it doesn't show it on the DOM, because the DOM's a fucking liar, but that's where it's at. B period opens up. Let's see if they try to auction this thing back down here. Bid's still holding. Yep, there it goes. Come on. So remember, gap rules. Any gap that doesn't fill, we want to go with the gap. That doesn't necessarily mean that we want to just be buying breakouts, but we want to be, uh, you know, looking for good spots to go with the gap. A little bit of resistance here. So it's marking a poor high here. It's only 2 ticks. And it's also a weak high because we're only 2 ticks above the Globex high. There it goes. Gives us a little extension here. Yeah, it seems like no one wants to trade the higher prices on the NASDAQ. And Nasdaq's creeping up to that 300 level. And Tesla's almost at that 300 level as well. I gotta cover one of these, at least one of these fucking Netflix shares. Hang on. Fuck. 300%. Thank God. Monday for continuation. That was 10 minutes ago. My bad, dog. So all that selling was coming in basically right around that 46 to 47 level. Um, I mean, we've just got a weak profile here. Let's see if the bid steps up on the 40. I mean, the bid is on 47 quarter. Oh shit, this thing's gonna squeeze, I think. That was just a bunch of shorts getting scared the fuck out. Either that or a bunch of shorts trying to enter the market aggressively, but it didn't look good. You're seeing like these moves down and then a quick move right back to the high. Oh. And so this is, I don't know if anyone got a chance to read the trade view. I know I got it out late today, but I had talked about, I think a failure to get it back below this previous day's range could cause a short squeeze today. I think there's a lot of people are short, and I think they could really get squeezed out today. And if big money kind of is locking onto that same key, you know, they tend to try to take advantage of the retail traders as much as possible. And if retail, or you've got, you know, smaller hedge funds net short and they've got the opportunity to squeeze them, I mean, we see what happens to GameStop and, you know, other shit like that. And look at the triple Q. Look at the breadth. Jumped up to 14 to 1 right here. Nasdaq's at almost 5 to 1, 15 to 1 here. All the sectors look, you know, pretty decent besides energy and utilities, but for the most part everything looks pretty strong. Michael Burry tweeted this morning, I guess the market bounced right off of a Fibonacci, and he said, "What does a bounce off of Fibonacci get you?" or something like that. I am targeting last week's high, Lecker, yeah, which is 64. Vroom vroom, motherfuckers. What's up, bro? Jason, you think we're gonna get you think Monday we'll get the continuation, or do you think Monday we'll see a seller come in? Because remember we have this gap up here as well. I have to look for it on the daily. I don't think I marked it on the chart yet. Netflix is just getting so many shorts covered right here. A bunch of shorts got trapped in Netflix. Put your stop at 46 and then just let it. So like I have one lot left and I've got my stop at 46 quarter, and I'm just gonna sit here and let it work itself out. If it comes down and grabs us, then you know that's what happens. But um I think right there is where we saw the last bid, and we're pretty safe to hide behind there. I know that's still like, you know, 3 points below where we're at now, but I think as long as we give these guys a little bit of space to work themselves out, we should be okay. We're coming right to that resistance here. That gap's all the way up at 42, but this is getting into that 64 is a cessation of one time framing on the weekly, which would kind of confirm that we're seeing a larger trader enter the market. And then we get into kind of these singles, and that's why I think the squeeze could happen, because I think a lot of weak shorts piled in on this day, and that's where they could start to capitulate. My entry was at 37 quarter, Lecker. Yeah. What's that, TJ? Okay. And that really just comes through time, like just through, I've just watched the market so much that it comes through the time. But I was actually talking to my dad about this yesterday. um and so if the ES is, it's raising your emotions too much, there's nothing wrong with, you know, let's say you're looking for this breakout, right? And I mean, you could take 5 ES or 5 MES lots here, or you could take, you know, 1 ES lot. But I definitely understand, like, the rotations on the ES. You see your PNL go from like 250 to 0 to negative 250 and then to back to 0, and it's just kind of a roller coaster. Whereas if you use the MES, you can kind of tier yourself in. So if you have like an area, so let's say you like that 46 to 42 area, right? You could tier yourself in into this area. The risk is, and this is why I don't like to base my stop losses off of like a certain amount of points. I like to base them off of a certain amount of risk. So let's say if you were to get into 5 lots in this area, that's the area that you like to get long, and you had your stop, below the 40, which is where we saw that kind of that breakout come from. Well, this stop for this first lot's going to be bigger, but the stop for the last lot's going to be smaller. So the risk overall is going to be whatever it is. We're not doing the math here, but it's going to be the same. And you're going to be able to tier yourself out. So as the market goes up, you take one MES lot off, you take two MES lots off, you take a third off, and now you've got 2 more, and that will help you, until you build that account up and start to get to that point where you're a little bit more comfortable with it to sit into some of those rotations. You know what I mean? Because I understand the goal, right, is the monetary goal, right? We all want to make a $500 a day or something like that. But if we can't get comfortable with it while we're trading, maybe smaller size, even just 3 lots on the MES, that way you can take 2 off and then use 1 for rotation, because mostly that's what I trade, 3 lots on the ES, and I take the first 2 off pretty quick to give myself, a nice ability to sit my stop at break even no matter what happens. And that's how I'm able to sit in some of these rotations. And I do have a lot of break even trades, because it does, especially last month, the market was so rotational. I got, backticked like what seemed fucking just like constantly when I should have taken profit. And that's why I'm working on this month, is something I got from Jim, is taking myself out of the trade and not letting my stop take me out of the trade. And so, if that's something that's like getting to you, then try to do it like that, right? And don't you don't necessarily need to, like, I understand like 48 to 46, if you get in on 48 and it goes down to 46, you're like, well, that's adding to a loser. Well, it's different because you're scaling in that situation. So you're using the smaller contracts as an ability to scale into it and to manage risk, is really what you're doing. So that's what right, instead of just getting in on 1 ES slot here and it goes down to 46, and now you're down 200, or now you're down $100. You get in on 1 MES slot here, another one here, another one here, you're in for 3 lots, and let's say it goes down to 44. Well, this lot is down 20, this one's down 15, this other one's down 10, and so you're down $45 instead of 100, and now you've got 3 lots on, and as it moves up, you can tier yourself out, and then the risk gets eliminated, right? And you could still keep that stop all the way down at that B low and still sit in the trade. Yeah, 1 MES slot, but then you can also add back in, and yeah, it'll bring your average up. You've taken some profit off, so your average becomes 46. You've taken some profit off, so your average moves down. You add on the 50, and then your average moves up, right? And so now you've got to manage risk still, but you're still at this point up points. And so you're able to, kind of looks like parts, but it's points. You're able to kind of sit through those trades, and that gives you that opportunity to feel the emotion while you're in the trade. And then eventually, once you start to size up, once your account gets a little bit bigger, because that's the thing, is like, especially these funded accounts, the 300,000 funded account gives you a $7,500 drawdown. To me, that only gives you the room to trade one ES slot at a time. Maybe 2, but that's tough, because you know, you've got to decide, right? You get in, it goes up 2 points. Do I want to take 100, or do I want to risk it because I'm thinking it's going to go higher, and then it doesn't go higher, and then it comes down, and now you're out for 200 down, and then it rolls up. Whereas if you were tiered in from whatever level that you were looking at, you would still be in the trade, right? Because if you base your max risk, let's say your max risk per trade is $250, right? And we do that on a 4 lot tier in or a 3 lot tier in. $250 I mean, you could put your fucking stop at the A low if you really wanted to. Not that that would be good risk management, but you're still getting to capture a piece of that trade. And I know my dad was talking about like taking all 5 at once because he thought the commissions were cheaper or some shit like that. But I talked to him about it last night. I was just, you know, misinformed. You sent me your analysis on Discord. If you have time to check it out off stream, yeah, definitely, I'll check it out. A long-term AD line gap overhead just filled. Morning, Jamie. Yeah, we're up here pretty decently. You know, a little what's it called? Participation. I just added a lot right here on the 52. Let's see if we can get a couple ticks out of it. They're offering this 52.50, but they're just not doing that great of a job in my opinion. Nice. Apple's just on the kill today. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. All right, let's move our stop up to 52 quarter. That's where that last bid was at. Yeah. Prab, thank you for the sub, my man. Or ma'am. Scoop several Apple 155 calls yesterday at the bottom. Good shit. That was smart. Damn it. Now you reminded me that I didn't do that, and I talked about it with fucking Jared and didn't. I was being a little bitch. Alright, I'm gonna close all of my Netflix calls here. They're weekly calls anyway, so I gotta get out of them. And I'm out. Yeah, we're a couple ticks away from last week's high. I'm out of that long now. No, I'm completely flat on the ES. What was our level earlier? 46 quarter. Yeah, watch for that. Watch for that. That's where the push will be. 46 quarter. $65 points yesterday was today. Yesterday was down 25. We'll finish the week out strong. Good shit, Jason. Have a good day. Have a good appointment. We'll see you next week. Oh, those BP calls are trying to come back to life. They're only down 5% right now. Those are January 23 calls though. Those are longer calls. Trying to get through winter. And there is some feds on today. We've got Waller and George at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Volume's basically about even as yesterday. You guys ever watch like CNBC, like, you know, after the market's over, just to see like what, you know, what goes on that channel, and then you just listen to it and you're like, what in the fuck? Is that just me? Confessions of a Market Maker, that's what it's called. I was trying to think of it. Confession of a Market Maker. No, it's not uploaded yet. The last one was Paula Webb. Some C-SPAN prank calls. Twenty to 1 here on the NYSE breath. This is the largest I've seen it in a while. I'll have to look that up. That does sound funny. This 46 level's kind of been holding a bid pretty decently here. This breath is peanuts. Yeah, for real. It's crazy. Just jumped down to 16 though, so there is some pushing down. I think this 46 level is going to be kind of the key. It's been holding for a pretty decent amount of time, and you keep seeing bids just jump up above it. I don't know how many times I'm going to buy this 47, but this might have been the last time. 47.75, excuse me. Tommy, good morning. Where was this? There's a previous high right here somewhere as well. High is this? Oh, that's the 4064. This 4046. Where do we build that? So 4046 is the previous high from the 30th. So that kind of is that makes sense here. The 46 half. There's that 46 again. Let's see if they find some buyers down here. These longs start to liquidate. We got the cash view up down at 42.75 right now. And like TJ was saying earlier, they've been pretty strong off of the VWAP, the 24-hour VWAP today. But that's down at 40.36. 40.98 is likely on the menu before the whole move is over, if not 41.72. Those are the 1 to 9 current day high targets. I'm still watching this 157 level. You know, if Apple can break that 157 level, this squeeze to the upside really could get going. Lecker, I didn't get your message on Discord if you sent me a message on Discord. Tesla's almost up to that 300 level. It's really getting up there. And you could really see a big squeeze, the big cheese. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, I got it. I got it. Yeah. So no, look at the volume. The market moved down. Here's that 46. It moved down almost to the 45, it looks like. Close enough at least. Like um and there was no volume coming back in. 943 is the weak spot now, so 44.75-ish. Had 9 Tesla calls coming in today's opening bell. Good shit. Good. I'm gonna go buy a car today. I saw this Cadillac DeVille 1990. I think it was a 1998 Cadillac DeVille. For like 5 grand. Kind of want it. Like it's old school. Bench seats, the mobber. They see me rolling. It's sick looking. My wife hates it. She's like, I'm never riding in that. I'm like, what? Thing's dope. The dollar's not really slipping too much here. I mean, it's already down a pretty decent amount, but it's not slipping too much. It does start to slip. Let's see. Let's put an alert so we get an alert. Here comes C period, so we're opening up with some single prints. Look at the breath, 23 here. An old, yeah, Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Yeah. I wonder if she was embarrassed or if she liked it. Cause it's like a boat. It's like a big. I mean, it's just a dope ass car. I could just put some studs on it, and it could mob in the snow. Could do it. You were jealous, yeah. I mean, it's a cool ass looking car, you know. Just old school. Oh, she loved it. Nice. Yeah. See, my wife, she like, she that's what her dad drove when she was a kid. So she's like having like flashbacks, and she said she was embarrassed as a kid getting driven to school in those cars. My closeout lasts long. That 51 took me out right there. Right on the fucking low. No seatbelts in the back. Yep. Like a bus. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Pop. Yeah, just put some studs on there and we should be okay. It's a boat, but it's a pretty boat, yeah. And this thing was white too. Like, I mean, trunk or was already had plastic in it. No, I'm kidding. Just straight out of the movie. As long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. I also had a 2010 DTS, a limo, a Cadillac limo. I'm like, that'd be badass. Get a limo. Yes, Lecker, yeah. Yeah, it's a key. The C low is mechanical. Um right there off that B half back, but I mean you just have weakness in selling pretty much all over the profile here. There's no sellers available, no supply available, so I would say yes, you're dead on. Pop's trying to convince me to buy it. I want it. My wife just she's like, ah, I do want it though. I mean, it's just dope looking. Like a classic. It just didn't turn over like right away. Eventually, I got it started, but well, these wouldn't be Brad prints right here, Jamie, because these are like real single prints. Um, let's say like, I mean, we'd have to build some value before. Oh damn, my bad. Got you guys distracted. We're starting to see the tick try to peak below zero here, and the dollar is starting to catch a bid. The breath still looks strong though. Everything looks strong. What's that? It was I think it was a 1998 rear-wheel drive. You know what you see a lot on the East Coast is Mitsubishis, and you never see any on the West Coast ever. I don't. I mean, not like the SUVs. You see a lot of Mitsubishi SUVs out here, and I'll never see any on the West Coast. What was it, 69? Oh man, yeah, that's a real. Because they don't just make they don't just make cars. Oh, it might have been front wheel drive, Roach. You might be right. I'm not sure. So we've got a poor high developing here. We've got about 12 minutes left. Doesn't look like it's going to hold though. Big buy at the 57.50, 152 lots. Shorts are starting to cover again. At 64 is the target on the break above. It's that previous high. It's the weekly high. And if it gets above that, we could. That's where the squeeze would potentially start. I mean, I know we're squeezing up a little bit here, but that's where a real squeeze would start. A lot of volume coming in up on this high tick here. Oh yeah, from that liquidation day. Well, shit, you guys are gonna convince me. I might just have to go buy it, I guess. There's a last chance, last ditch effort. I mean, this thing is just gonna get squeezed. These guys are they're fucked. But a last ditch effort here looks like at the 62. Let's go back and look at this. Let's go back and look at this spike real quick. Yeah, so those single prints up to the 72.50. Could change these quick. But yeah, we could see some resistance above that 64 high up into that 72. Because it is kind of interesting. Would you approach the market change able to stop one time framing on the weekly? I mean like a end of one time framing on the weekly would just basically confirm my upside bias that I've had. That's all that would do really. ETV mobile trick that shit out. That's why I was looking at a limo. Apple's getting close to this 157 level. Look at the triple Q just really on the rager. And Tesla's getting really close to that 300 level. Mechanical selling there, front running that previous high. Still holding from that 40-47. Good shit, bro. Yeah, I got in on the breakout right there at 58. Took some off at 60 quarter and then some off right here at 62, but got my last one on 58. A hearse. Just ready to collect the body at all times. Like, fuck around, bitch. I got it. That's a 20-point move, Lecker. That's a good move. We look at the sectors here, and you can see the market's still trying to break out. But I mean, even energy is trying to. Energy is only red because it is down from the open, but it opened up on a gap higher and didn't fill its gap. Pretty much everything is still just one time framing up since the open. Watch this weak spot on the profile here. Failure to push through these weak contracts is just going to tell us that shorts are covering here, and continuation will still be on. And it does look like shorts are trying to cover right here. But we do still always want to remain objective, right? You know, it's nice when the trade works. It's nice when we get continuation. But we do have a mechanical C low, and I'm not trying to piss on anyone's parade, but there is a mechanical C low. We still want to be looking out for that, right? And it's right at where all the volume's at, so that would act as a magnet should there get any steam to push down below this. Yeah, Tommy, this is one of the highest breadths that we'll see, and if we make this thing big and switch to a daily here, you could see, I mean, it doesn't get much higher than this. This is the advanced decline line right here for the S&P. I mean, it's almost 500, right? There's 500 stocks in the S&P. Almost every single one is going up. 454 out of 500 is going up. So it's it's a pretty strong breath. Your stops below the impulse. Yeah, that's a good spot to have it. If they don't break the high again on this C high, we're getting this mechanical selling, but it may just be showing a little bit of weakness from buyers. Not that I think it's not going to break, but you always want to be cautious here. Yeah, but you got to remember, Roach. Normally on an uptrending day, it is a lot slower tempo than a downtrending day. So it does we still get that feeling, and you can see the continued volume up here. We came down right here. Shorts started to cover once again. We're back up here. We're still getting volume on the high tick. So there's still competition up here. There's still interest up here from buyers. And even if it's not new buyers, it could just be, old sellers. That's all we're gonna get? Come on. We've broken the previous weekly's high by a tick or two ticks. What's the high today? By one tick. Um, Now we're gonna watch this trend line here. This is gonna be the key here. If this trend line starts to hold or starts to fail. Oil's doing well today. Dollar's trying to break out still. Apple's still up on the high. AMD's running into a bit of resistance at this call wall, it looks like. Amazon's up at its gap high, so Amazon filled its upper gap. Disney doesn't matter. Google. Yeah, Google's running into that resistance as well. So a lot of these bigger tech names are running into a bit of resistance here right now. Same thing with Meta, kind of running into previous highs as well. Microsoft broke that lower trend line, and now it's looking to trade up into its gap up above at the 267. Netflix, kind of the same idea, but it's looking to trade up that 236, 235 is that call, where that call level's at. Nvidia. And Tesla's really trying to climb up to that 300 level here. And it's got that resistance pretty much right there. Even that downtrend resistance from the April 5th high. So running into some resistance pretty much all over the market here. I'll be right back, guys. So back into that weak volume area here. Look at the tick getting close down to that zero level. Really unable to get anything going below that zero level. So, you know, that would be kind of our first indication today. If we do get a tick to try to establish below that zero level, that maybe a seller is coming in. We do have a weak high here as of now, though. No, I didn't roll over. Not yet. Let's see. I think Monday will be the rollover day for sure. Um, Volume still a little bit higher on the U contract than the Z, so yeah, we'll stay on the U for now. But we'll see how it opens. Globex will be telling if the December contract gets more volume on Monday, then we'll switch over. Or Sunday night, I guess. D period's opening up with some single prints here. So here comes the keys. We've seen weakness every time the markets come down to this area here, this 60.59 area. Sellers start to cover at that area. So single prints close. This is a spot where we've seen weakness in the sellers. So let's see what we get here. So now we've got a poor high and a weak high. That's a note to carry forward for sure. Nice little bounce right there. Sitting in a pretty tight range here from about 64 to 56 now for the past hour so far. You know, pretty close to an hour, I feel like. I want to try this long right here from 58.75 with a tight stop. King Charles is about to be on TV. I move my stop up to break even here. I don't want to let it come back down here. It's not showing the conviction that I really wanted it to. Yeah, I'm out. Man, I'm about to fall asleep. This thing's so boring. Looks like sellers just keep coming in right here. You're seeing a little bit of volume move down, right? We got the little volume here. Now we're starting to see volume form below that previous weak spot, that 58, 59, 60 level. So it looks like some sellers have moved down here. Remember that C low is a weak low. I cut that trade, Liquor. I cut that trade for break even, or actually, yeah, break even. Thought I got one tick, but it was not. Target is the C low for these guys. Yeah, I mean the breadth is high because of the gap for sure. But we're seeing, I mean, it's pulling down quite a bit here. 13 coming down from the 20s, so pretty decent pull down. I still think it's gonna take some miracle work to really cut this thing lower. I don't think there's enough volume today, really. Like the volume is, yeah, it's about the same as yesterday, so it's still not very good volume. Watch to see if the volume comes in here. This will be the key. So we saw some volume here, volume move down, got some more volume. If they start to fill in this area with volume, then I think they're going to target that C low, and we'll see the reaction off of that 50 where most of the volume is at. If volume doesn't keep moving down and we get above the 58, that's probably where the high can be targeted. I'd like to see I'd like to see them get back above this volume here, but they're just kind of struggling, or just really not even competing. If I'm being honest, doesn't look like it. Some volume gone into December. Yeah, yeah, that's true. A lot, like almost half. Yeah, it's about even. And sometimes we'll see something that I've noticed is that you'll see some people sell one contract to go back to go into another contract. So they'll be selling out of this December contract or this September contract, right? And then they'll be moving their, like kind of a rolling situation. So let's say you're short the September contract. Well, you got to buy the September contract to short the December contract if that's what you're if that's how you're rolling your position. So I've seen that happen quite a bit actually. There we go. Back above the 58. So volume coming in here. You can see the tick failed to get back below that 0. Watch to see if this breath picks back up. We get this breath back above 15. We should be good to go here for the high. Apple's starting to tick up as well. Started a small October meta near money put position while the VIX is relatively low here and price is getting overextended. Yeah, that's not a bad play. I do think that I do agree. I think meta is a bit extended, and it's kind of running into some resistance. And you can see meta just has been struggling to really break above. The only thing that we're seeing the dollar start to come down. It's almost down here below this 108, and that's going to be a break of the low, and I could give the market some steam here, catch some upside. But yeah, I do agree. I think meta's it's tough to tell. They're really just in a balance here. They've got that gap below from today. That could be your target, I guess. You're starting at 167 shorts. Let's see. What are you doing? October puts. In these. Oh, these are calls. What the fuck am I doing? Yeah, you could almost get catch like 50% if maybe even 54%. Even if it goes back to that 162, which is it's a date here. 9/1. That's only Monday. Go here. at about 80% from date is Tuesday. Yeah, so you just need to trade back into that gap, that 162, and you'd get close to hitting 100%, especially if vol kicks up. So there goes that C low. They repair that mechanical low, and we're back at the 50 here. The VWAP's right here at the 40.48, the cash VWAP. You did the 165 puts? Yeah, I agree. I think so. I think you're probably safe right here, at least to test this level, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think you're probably good. AMD's breaking out here above that 85 level now. Nvidia's even trying to break out here too, trying to get back up above that 145, 144 half. So on. So now these sellers are in a pinch, right? So sellers moved down initially to sell below that 50, 59.60 level, 58 to 60 level, which was a spot, weak spot in first. They came down, they sold. A lot of volume came in right around the 57, got back down here, put in another weak reference. A lot of volume came in up above, and now we're up above that level. So by the market staying up above this level, if we get up above, I mean, the 60 level is really the key level I'm watching for that breakout, but above this volume here on this 57, you're probably going to get this continuation here to the upside. Come on, let's go. Get your ass above 60 and fucking take this week high out. Here for feels like an hour. Failure to take out this week high, even though I do think that it's just a matter of time until it gets taken out. But failure to continue to get continuation here, I think increases the odds of a late day liquidation break. But as far as the day is going, it doesn't look like that's on the horizon. It really just looks like it just wants to go. Apple's about to break out over this resistance, and then here comes E period. So the market really just balanced that last session. You know, I mean, yeah, D period got a tick below that C period, but the market pretty much is just balancing higher here. A lot of times these fast moves evaporate quickly, of course, and it may still, I roughly expect that from the all-time hitting the lows over and over. Trap liquidity, a nice gap fill. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think today was mostly, honestly, more of a squeeze than anything. You know, it doesn't really feel, doesn't necessarily feel real. I mean, we're seeing it if we, if we're smart here and we pay attention to volume. One, the gap didn't fill naturally, um, but value, is definitely building higher, right? Even in the Globex session, if we were to take like a little line tool, you can see like value developed higher even during the Globex session, and it's continuing to develop higher. It is starting to give us a little P shape, right? Which is kind of what we assume anyways, because we think it's a squeeze, so short covering. Um, it's just a matter of how much squeeze, how much juice is in the squeeze, right? Or however you say that. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's pretty typical. Um, yeah, you'll get a little divergence in the prices. Yeah, volume still about close to 100,000 difference. Yeah, but that's pretty common. And if you look down here, we can kind of see. If we look at so here's the December contract trading, 40.76 as of right now. And then we've got the March contract trading 40.98, and then the June contract trading out there at 41.12, and then that next year September contract trading 43.77. No volume on it yet though, but yeah, there's some. I mean, there's 40 contracts traded today on the March contract for next year, or in the June contract for next year, excuse me, and then 600 contracts traded on the March contract. Yeah, people. I mean, people. Yeah, people get in on that. You just got to have the margin to hold, because that's not one you're going to get in for today and then get out of, because the liquidity is so low. What do you mean? Oh yeah, the numbers. So see those numbers right there. Like if you attach your trade chart. Yeah, let me just pull my I'm up. I think so. Oh no, mine doesn't. just changed. Oh, you're good. Oh, here we go. Above that 58 now. Or above the 60. See if we can get some continuation here. Get some January 23 CRM calls, 200 calls. All right, Jamie, you have a good weekend too. We'll see you later. Ed Bullard said 75-point race hike. Any softer tone from the other two coming up at 12, which is in like 20 minutes, could bring us a little bit higher. Let's just fix this poor high. Featuring Tony Soprano. Roach. It's funny. Everyone thinks like the Nepa people. I mean, they do. Like, they do have like that. It's the Northeast accent. You know, that's just how people talk out here. And you could stereotype Roach for sure. And you know, my father-in-law, he has the same. He talks the same. You know, and I was talking to my wife about it. It's funny, like how different accents develop. And I mean, it's the same way all over the country, but you have like different accents, um, or all over the world, really. But different accents, just but you're still speaking the same language. You know what I mean? Like even in England, you know, they've got different accents. In Ireland too, they got different accents. But they're all speaking the same language. It's funny, and it's like Spanish too. Like in California, we have like Mexican Spanish, like we call it Spanglish, where everyone speaks they just they just say the easier words in English because sometimes the words are easier in English or shorter in English. I wouldn't say easier, just shorter. And yeah, and like some people like use a deeper voice depending upon where they grow up at. You know what I mean? Like, and then some people use a higher pitch voice depending upon like where they're at. It's interesting. Like you wonder if it because you it's a learn thing, right? So you learn the like how to speak. You're not really born with your tone of voice or your expressions, and so you wonder like would I've had a deeper voice if I grew up on the East Coast, something like that. That's kind of like what I think about, like would my vocal cords have learned to vibrate at a different frequency had I been born in a different part of the country. It's a yeah. Yeah, and I mean you're really only 1,000 miles away. You're not far at all. Yeah. Right, yeah. Right, exactly. And Apple broke above that 157 level that we've been kind of monitoring for a week, pretty much all week now. I think it put it in on Monday, and now it finally is peaking above it. I agree. Yeah, like retail, weaker money trying to be like, oh, this is it, trying to fight the value. And this is one of those days where greed really gets retail traders in trouble because like Roach is saying, they're sucking in these shorts and these people are getting short, they're getting short, they're getting short, and they're eyeing down like the lows of the day or like below the half back of the day as a win. They're not taking these moves and seeing that volume is not coming in, lower volumes coming in higher. Right, we've got volume here, now volume here, and above that 60 level, then we'll start to increase this volume. Volume keeps moving up. F period opens up, then we get value moving higher as well. And then you just run the sweep, right? Touchdown. Anyone watch the football game last night? Fucking Rams just got smacked. It's tough to stay up on the East Coast too to watch a whole game. I fell asleep. Yeah, it does look like a P shape, Tommy, for sure. Yeah. And no continuation in each direction. Right, yeah, so like if we were to, if we split the profile here, you'd be kind of having a weak high or poor high, poor low profile, yeah. So you'd be looking to long the low and short the high until there is a breakout. Exactly, which is what, oh. Damn, Cirillo has a 1986 Corvette. Old school Corvette. That's real wheel drive. Sure, just fucking spin around. Oh. So with the East Coast love of the color red, they just love red cars here. Yeah, fuck. In California, like you just know that the highway patrol is just trying to write you a ticket at all times, no matter what you're doing. And if you've got a red car, your chances of getting a ticket just increase like exponentially. So you don't really see too many red cars unless they're you know, like Teslas or sports cars. Yeah, holding above that initial balance. Yeah. Well, we're in that Brad balance. That's the ABC, the Brad balance. And remember what happened last couple days ago when we broke the Brad balance? That's what turned into that trend day to the upside. And it's almost, I mean, you've got a real similar kind of setup here. So stay here. We're in that C period, D came down, and then as soon as D broke, it checked back in there and then just started to trend. I guess that was from the D high, excuse me, not the C high, the D high. And then that thing just really started to rip, and it's kind of a similar feel here. The R2. Do I have the? I don't know if I have the R2s on. Good point. $40.56.5 is this the R2 on Sierra charts? I don't really pay attention to them too much, to be honest with you, though. Except unless it's I pay attention to the R3, but not really the R1 or the R2. And the only reason I pay attention to that R3 is because Peter Reznicek's talked about it before, and that's kind of where I picked it up at. $41.24, yeah, R3's way up there. Yeah, we've had an extended range yesterday, that's why. And the R's are based on, or the R's and the S's are based off of previous day's range. All right, guys. I think I'm about to call it. I'm gonna go get some lunch and then go look at a couple cars and then pick the kids up from school. Um, I mean, pretty much, kind of like we talked about. I think that until we get a break either below, and even a break below is really kind of hard to, unless you're just scalping, is hard to, confirm a short. Remember, we still have this gap here below. So still, still a 14-point gap below. So that it's still hard, and we've got a lower volume day. So still hard to get convinced. I do think, if we don't take this high, there's good odds of a late day liquidation break, as I don't think a lot of these people are going to want to hold this over the weekend. But like kind of like what Roach said, I think they're just kind of convincing people, retail shorts, to get short, and they're hoping for a massive break, as they've been short the whole week, hoping to make back their week on today. And that's a it's just not plausible, really. um that's more of a lottery type situation thing. So yeah, but I mean, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. You guys are pretty much on the same track. Everyone seems to be on the right path. So where is half gap? Half of the gap would be pretty much right at balance high. And this is kind of like that confirmation, right? We broke out of the high balance. We looked below that lower balance earlier, broke above the high balance, actually gapped above the high balance. And gaps are typically indicating that an entrance of an other time frame trader or a larger time frame trader. Now we're above it, and I would say, you know, until they get back below it, it's going to be hard to really confirm a short, or a longer short at least. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back on Monday to kill it. I'll try to do a nice recap this weekend. I'm trying to work it out where I can do a recap video after the market, and then we'll just do an update in the Discord about overnight inventory. That way, you know, because I know sometimes it's tough to get into the trade view right before the market opens. And then also for me with my schedule now with the kids in school, it's kind of rushed getting back in time to get the stream started and everything and get the trade view done. So, and catch a workout before I get in, which is part of my routine. So, but we'll figure it out. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Appreciate all the input. You know, I love when the conversation gets rolling. It really gets me rolling as well. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you guys later. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan.